Hello everyone, I am Mrs. Malati K, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Government First Aid College, Haleyangadi, Mangalore, Dakshina Kannada. This video is made according to the syllabus prescribed by Mangalore University for 6th semester BBA students on the subject Company Law. And I will be dealing with the 6th unit of the syllabus titled as Company Meetings. And my focus is mainly on kinds or types of company meetings. Let me begin with the introductory part. A meeting is a congregation, assembly, gathering or get-together of the members of an organization at a place for the purpose of discussing and deciding all important matters relating to the business of their organization. But every gathering of persons does not constitute a meeting. A meeting would be valid if it is held by following the prescribed rules and regulations. Company, being an association of large number of persons, is required to conduct different kinds of meetings from time to time to discuss and decide about various matters affecting its business. And these meetings, to be valid, must be convened and held as per the provisions of Companies Act. Broadly, company meetings can be divided into three types. First main classification of company meetings is general meetings or shareholders meetings. As per the provisions of Companies Act of 1956, there are four types of general meetings, namely, first one statutory meeting, second one annual general meeting, third one extraordinary general meeting, and the fourth one class meeting. But Companies Act 2013 has not made any reference to statutory meeting. Section 165 of Companies Act of 1956 contains legal provisions relating to statutory meeting. Let us discuss about them later. And as per Companies Act of 2013, there are only three types of general meetings, namely annual general meeting, extraordinary general meeting, and class meeting. Second main classification of company meetings is directors meetings, and there are two types of directors meetings. First one is board meetings and the second one is committee meetings. Third main classification of company meetings is creditors meetings, and they can be divided into three types. First one, debenture holders meetings. Second one, meetings of creditors including debenture holders otherwise than in winding up. Third one, meetings of creditors including debenture holders in winding up. From the discussions so far made, it is very clear that in each class of company meeting, there are different kinds. Let us have a discussion on each kind of meeting in detail. First one, meetings of shareholders or general meetings. In that, statutory meeting. Statutory meeting was one of the kinds of general meetings of a company as per section 165 of Companies Act of 1956. But Companies Act 2013 does not contain any corresponding section to section 165 of Companies Act of 1956. As per the provisions of Companies Act of 1956, statutory meeting was to be the first meeting of the members of the company after its incorporation and was required to be held within 6 months from the date at which the company became entitled to start business. It was held only once in the lifetime of the company. The purpose of this meeting was to acquaint the members with all the important facts relating to the new company to enable them to know the position and future prospects of the company. And this meeting was compulsory for every public company limited by shares and every public company limited by guarantee and having a share capital. The statutory meeting was required to be held within a period of not less than 1 month and not more than 6 months from the date on which the company is entitled to commence business. Now, let us discuss which are the important legal provisions of Companies Act of 1956 applicable to statutory meeting and statutory report. An analysis of the provisions of Companies Act relating to statutory meeting reveals several requirements of the statutory meeting. Let us now have a discussion of the various requirements relating to statutory meeting. First one, holding of statutory meeting. As per section 165 subsection 1 of Companies Act, every public company limited by shares and every public company limited by guarantee and having share capital must hold the statutory meeting. Private companies, public companies limited by guarantee but not having share capital, and unlimited public companies are exempted from holding the statutory meeting. Second one, power to call the statutory meeting. The power to call the statutory meeting is vested in the Board of Directors. In case the Board of Directors fails to hold the statutory meeting, the court may either on its own or on an application made by the Registrar of Companies or a contributory direct the holding of statutory meeting. Third one, notice of the statutory meeting. For convening the statutory meeting, the Board of Directors must send the notice of the meeting to all the members of the company who are entitled to attend and vote at the meeting. The notice must be sent at least 21 days before the date of the meeting. The notice must expressly state that the meeting is the statutory meeting of the company. Fourth one, statutory report. Along with the notice convening the statutory meeting, a report known as the statutory report should also be sent by the Board of Directors to every member of the company so as to enable the members to have a fairly good idea about the company before they come to the meeting. The statutory report must be sent at least 21 days before the date of statutory meeting. Now let us discuss the various contents of statutory report. The statutory report should contain all the necessary information relating to the formation of the company, financial position of the company, etc. First one, total number of shares allotted, number of shares allotted for cash and number of shares allotted for consideration other than cash should be stated. Second one, an abstract of receipts and payments. Third one, particulars of directors, managing director, etc. Fourth one, preliminary expenses. Fifth one, underwriting contracts. Next one, commission or brokerage paid or to be paid to directors, etc. Next one, particulars of contracts. The particulars of any contracts to be submitted to the meeting for approval. As per section 165 subsection 5 of Companies Act, a certified copy of the statutory report must be filed with the Registrar of Companies immediately after the copies of the report are sent to the members of the company. But it should be noted that at present, since provisions of Companies Act of 2013 are applicable to companies, legal provisions so far discussed about statutory meeting and statutory report have lost their relevance. Let us move on to the second important type of general meetings of a company, that is annual general meeting. Annual general meeting is a regular meeting of the shareholders. It must be held each year in addition to any other meeting. The object of this meeting is to provide an opportunity for the members to express their views on the management of company's affairs. Every company, whether public or private, is required to hold this meeting. However, one-person company is not required to hold any annual general meeting. Now let us discuss the important legal provisions of Companies Act of 2013 applicable to annual general meeting. They are given under section 96 to 99 of Companies Act of 2013. First one, the annual general meeting in each year. Annual general meeting must be held each year in addition to any other meeting. Second one, first annual general meeting. The first annual general meeting of a company must be held within 9 months from the end of the first financial year, and if such general meeting is held within that period, it should not be necessary for the company to hold any annual general meeting in the year of its incorporation. This time of 9 months cannot be extended even by the registrar. Third one, subsequent annual general meeting. The subsequent annual general meetings must be held each year within 6 months of the end of the company's financial year, but the interval between any two annual general meetings must not be more than 15 months. The registrar may, however, for any special reason, extend the above time of 6 months by a period not exceeding 3 months. Fourth one, time and day of holding annual general meeting. The annual general meeting must be held during business hours between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. and on a day which is not a national holiday. Fifth one, place of holding annual general meeting. The meeting must be held at the registered office of the company or at some other place within the city where the registered office of the company is situated. Sixth one, notice of the meeting. At least 21 days clear notice must be given either in writing or through electronic mode to every shareholder, directors and auditors of the company and to every person entitled to attend the meeting. The meeting may be held with a shorter notice if it is so agreed by at least 95% of the members entitled to vote in such a meeting. A copy of director's report, audited financial statements and auditor's report must be annexed to every such notice. Seventh one, default in holding the annual general meeting. If a company fails to call an annual general meeting within the prescribed time limit, the tribunal may, on an application of any member of the company, call or direct the calling of the meeting. A meeting called by an order of the tribunal shall be deemed to be an annual general meeting of the company. Eighth one, penalty for default. If the company fails to hold the annual general meeting, the company and every officer in default shall be punishable with the fine up to rupees 1 lakh, and if the default continues, with a further fine up to rupees 5,000 for every day after the first day of default during which such default continues. Ninth one, business transacted at the meeting. Annual general meeting is the most important meeting of the shareholder. Usually, two types of businesses are transacted in annual general meeting. First one, ordinary business. Ordinary business transacted at the annual general meeting consists of the following. First one, approval of director's report. Second one, approval of annual accounts and auditor's report. Third one, appointment of directors in the place of retiring directors. Fourth one, appointment or reappointment of auditors and fixation of their remuneration. Fifth one, declaration of dividend, and so on. Second type of business transacted at annual general meeting is special business. Any business transacted at an annual general meeting other than the ordinary business is considered as a special business. Examples are the following: raising of authorized share capital, alteration of articles, etc. Now let us move on to the third important type of general meeting of a company, that is extraordinary general meeting. All general meetings other than the annual general meetings are called extraordinary general meetings. According to Regulation 42 of Table F given in Schedule 1st of Companies Act of 2013, All general meetings other than annual general meetings shall be called extraordinary general meetings. These meetings may be convened by the company at any time. The business transacted at an extraordinary general meeting comprises anything which cannot be postponed till the next annual general meeting. Example, changes in the memorandum and articles, reduction and reorganization of share capital, issue of debentures, etc. Now the question is, who may call such meetings? Extraordinary general meetings may be convened by first board of directors. The board of directors may, whenever it thinks fit, convene an extraordinary general meeting by passing a resolution to that effect in the board meeting. Second one, by the board of directors on the requisition of members. The directors must convene an extraordinary general meeting on the requisition of members. The requisition for calling the meeting must be made by members holding not less than 1/10 of total voting rights on the matter of requisition. And the board of directors should within 21 days from the date of deposit of a valid requisition move to call a meeting and should give 21 days notice to members for calling such a meeting, and the meeting should actually be held within 45 days from the date of requisition. Next one, third one, by the requisitionists themselves. If the directors fails to call the meeting within 45 days from the date of requisition made by the requisitionists, then the requisitionists themselves may convene a meeting within 3 months of depositing the requisition, and such a meeting should be called in the manner as that in which the meeting are called by the board. Next one, fourth one, by the tribunal. If for any reason it is impracticable to call or conduct an extraordinary general meeting, the tribunal may either of its own motion or on the application of any director or any member who would be entitled to vote, order a meeting to be called, held and conducted in such a manner as the tribunal thinks fit. Now let us move on to the next type of general meeting, that is class meeting. Class meeting is a meeting of a particular class of shareholders. Generally, companies have two classes of shareholders, namely first one equity shareholders and second one preference shareholders. In order to discuss the matters affecting one class, only a meeting of the particular class of shareholders is held. It may be noted that at a class meeting, only the shareholders of the particular class have the right to be present. Example, if the rate of dividend on preference shares is to be reduced, the meeting of preference shareholders will be called, at which only the preference shareholders are entitled to be present. The most frequent case of holding the class meeting is that if the rights attached to the shares of any particular class of shareholders are to be varied, a separate meeting of that particular class of shareholders must be held and the matter should be approved at the meeting by a special resolution. Now let us move on to the second main classification of company meetings, that is directors meeting. Directors are responsible for the overall control and supervision of the affairs of the company. Directors generally act collectively, that is as board of directors, unless the powers have been delegated to individual directors. And it should be noted that the meetings of directors are more frequent than the meetings of shareholders. A company must hold meeting of its board of directors at least once in every 3 calendar months, and there must be at least 4 meetings of the board of directors in every year. Second important type of board of directors meeting is committee meetings. The meetings of the directors are more frequent than the meetings of shareholders. However, it may not be possible for all the directors to attend every meeting of the board. That is why it is the usual practice with the board to entrust or delegate certain work to small committees of a few members or even a single member to do the work and report to the board. In case such committees are appointed, they meet at regular intervals to discuss the matters referred to them. Such meetings are called committee meetings. The rules and procedure governing the committee meetings are usually laid down by the board of directors or by the committee themselves. Move on to the next main classification of company meetings, that is creditors meetings. Creditors meetings are of three types. First one, meetings of debenture holders. The meetings of debenture holders may be held occasionally to consider matters which affect the interest of debenture holders. For instance, when there is a proposal to vary the rate of interest or the terms of the security or modify the rights of debenture holders, a meeting of debenture holders may be held. Second important type of creditors meeting is meetings of creditors including debenture holders during the existence of the company. So the meetings of creditors including debenture holders may be held on certain occasions during the existence of the company to secure the approval of the creditors to any scheme of reorganization, rearrangement or compromise in which the creditors may be asked to make some sacrifice to save the company from financial difficulties. And the third type of creditors meeting is meetings of creditors including debenture holders during the winding up of the company. When a company is liquidated voluntarily and when it is subject to the supervision of the creditors, the meetings of the creditors including debenture holders are held from time to time to consider matters relating to liquidation, such as the appointment of liquidator or the committee of inspection, etc. Once the liquidator is appointed, the meetings of the creditors may be convened by the liquidator to consider matters relating to the liquidation. So far, we have discussed about different kinds of company meetings, and it should be noted that decisions taken at these meetings are binding on the concerned parties only when meetings are duly convened, constituted and properly conducted. Thank you so much for watching.